Good morning, everybody. Tex Homer here, Ian Boyd. And IT Live is, of course, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Today, we're going to talk about Sarkisian's new quarterback prototype. And then also, can you buy a championship? We'll have some examples there. We've heard a lot, whatever the report was a couple weeks ago of Texas having X millions for their roster. Everybody said Texas was buying one. We've seen what Texas Tech is able to do with some of their influence now. So we'll kind of dive deep. Can you actually even do that in modern football? But it's going to be a quarterback deep dive. What's the main premise here? What would a new quarterback prototype mean in juxtaposition to what? Quinn Ewers style? What was it?
Dual threat versus pocket passer.
Okay.
That's the premise. Sark has been a pocket passing guy forever. And the thing that stood out to me is that 4 out of the last 5 quarterback commitments, counting Diabell, who's not yet signed, but the other 4 are dual threats. And that combined with the change in strategy we anticipate in 2025 and the type of quarterback that Sark landed in the transfer portal is insurance on 2025. It's all pointing in the same direction, which is farewell to pocket passing, hello to the new paradigm of what it means to be a pro-style quarterback.
What got exploited this past season that would even make you go, all right, maybe the passing or the pocket passer is becoming a little bit obsolete, even in the pros?
Well, it used to be like you get a really good left tackle and you run the ball. And between those two things, you can protect your quarterback pretty well, throw the ball down the field and play action. When you got to throw it on third down or whatever, your left tackle is a sure thing on the blind side. You leave him one-on-one or do whatever he's got to do, and then everybody else gangs up on whoever's left. And the big evolution, which I think is exemplified by people like Belichick, his downstream protege, Kirby Smart, and then a lot of the new school guys like McDonald or whoever else. They're not just putting their best pass rusher on the left tackle and saying, our champion will beat your champion, and that's how we win. They move them around. They emphasize the run on rundowns. They don't ask guys to be one-dimensional pass rushers. That's not really as much a thing anymore, you know? You need to be versatile. You need to be a hybrid, like we talked about with Colin Simmons. You got to earn the right to rush the passer. And when you rush the passer, you want to be able to do it from different places. Why go at the left tackle, the premium pass protector?
Right.
And everybody's been like scouring for this guy and like building them in labs to be like maximally strong and powerful and long-limbed and all that. It's like, why?
Well, Georgia announced that some Georgia insiders announced that Miami won the Cantwell sweepstakes with a $5 million offer. So it's like that kind of stuff's why go at that guy, right?
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah,
like,
put him on a guard.
Like, show me all the times that Kelvin Banks was the problem against Georgia. Show me the times that Trevor Gooseby was the problem against Georgia. And you'll find the one clip of Banks where Ewers sat at the top of the drop and didn't step up into a huge bucket. And you'll find like maybe 1 or 2 of Gooseby getting beat by Michael Williams or something. But you pull up like all the problems Texas had with Georgia, and it's like Michael Williams embarrassed a guard. Jalen Walker destroyed the right tackle. Michael Williams destroyed the right tackle. Linebacker blitz couldn't get picked up by the center. Linebacker blitz ran through the running back. Whatever. Teams are building their defenses more and more to blitz and attack places other than the strong left tackle. And also they're all tricky, right? They'll show you a blitz from one direction, try to get you to set your protection in a certain way, and then bring the real blitz from somewhere else where you've now assigned your running back or your quarterback to pick up the extra guy. And then they like plow through your running back, or they just run through free or whatever. The game has changed a lot. The coverages are better disguised. The pressures are better disguised. They come from different directions. For the vast majority of pocket passers against this style are just sitting ducks. There are quarterbacks that can dissect this and destroy it. If you listen to Tom Brady's rants about quarterback play, he will tell you how a pocket passer can shred this stuff, and he's not wrong. But the level of expertise and experience and reps and the specific training you need to be able to do that is just not something that anyone at the lower level wants to do.
Well, and Tom Brady, on top of being a pocket passer, had incredible pocket movement. So it's like you don't need to run if you can do the Tom Brady thing, but you have to have incredible feel. You have to know where that blitz is coming from. You need to know when to step up, all of that kind of stuff. The quarterback that just kind of does his 3-step and hangs out and waits for the play to develop, even if they know the coverage, they're still going to have a lot of trouble. So you still need to be able to move within the pocket and feel pressure coming too. As far as just hanging out at the back of your drop, those days just kind of seem over. Giving pass rushers a consistent point to attack and rush to is also a major problem. You want them to have to adjust mid-rush of where they're targeting you. Ian's going through something here, apparently.
Gotcha.
What?
Right. I was just trying to post this live so more people can see we're talking about quarterbacks, and it's always this big hassle. Maybe after the show, you can tell me how to do that in a way that's not like maximally disruptive, where I got like mute myself so it's not playing in the background. Yeah, 100%. And even like Tom Brady, if you've ever read or seen anything about like the time he spent on his pocket footwork, was it really intense. Or you'll hear, this used to drive me nuts. It still drives me nuts. You just don't hear it as much anymore. But people would talk about how Aaron Rodgers had all this different amazing footwork, and he could throw off platform, and he would like set it up to be able to throw it from here or from here or from here. And it was like, that's what you need. You need quarterbacks that can do that. And everybody would look for quarterbacks that could do that. And what they were missing was that Aaron Rodgers spent a ton of time knowing where to throw the ball, thinking through where and when he would have to throw the ball to get to that spot at the right time. And then he would practice the footwork and the arm angles he needed to do it. So it wasn't like this fluid spur of the moment thing most of the time. It was Aaron Rodgers being like, I need to be able to throw this route to beat this coverage and this kind of blitz. So I'm going to practice like an NBA player practicing, like if I'm being doubled from this direction, I need to be able to get my shot off with this footwork from this part of the floor.
Right.
And then just practicing that in a gym 100 times a day or whatever.
But it looks like improv because it looks so natural because they've been working it. I remember Aaron Rodgers doing an interview towards the end of his time at Green Bay, and he was frustrated with the coordination and the play selection. And I remember him talking about, like whenever he'd meet with the coordinators, just like throwing out half the playbook. Like, I don't like these plays. I want these 5 base plays in there. I know how to run them. We know how they have answers for every defense, that kind of thing. And that stuck out to me too. That's somebody that's just repping the hell out of 5 key concepts that he loves and knows works. So it's not all this improvisation that, you'll hear people talk about.
That's the other thing is mastering. Peyton Manning was like that too. I used to play disc golf like in college with my friends. And, you could, I don't know if anyone's disc golf, but you can buy like a million different kind of discs.
Yeah, I have disc golf. It's fun.
It's like different, different balance and like stable versus overstable and understable. I never was quite sure what that meant. How much spin it was supposed to have.
Where it turns.
Yeah, right. But I never knew exactly which is which, and they never seemed to do what they were supposed to do for me.
Yeah.
And then eventually I just found one disc that I could throw naturally. I could throw it well. Like it just was easy for me to throw well. And then I learned how to throw it a million different ways from a million different arm angles with different velocity to get it to go where I wanted, rather than trying to have 100 different discs for it. This is pretty tangential. It's not necessarily as related to what we're talking about, but
no, it is. But I started on the mid range, and I would putt with it. I would do everything with it. I would drive with it because I could throw that mid range well. So it wasn't technically always the right tool for the distance, but you master that specific one, and then you're able to get more flexible. So I get what you're saying. Shout out to all the disc golfers out there, all 7 of us. And it's heating up. Maybe I'll go back on the course. We got a little course not far from my house. All right.
Remember when Peace Park used to have this amazing course? Did you ever play there?
Mm-mm.
Then the freaking hippies made them take it down because they were like, it's damaging the trees.
That's shocking because there's a huge overlap too between disc golf and hippies.
It was
energy there.
It was the old NIMBY hippies that actually owned property out there, I guess. Anyway, those guys suck.
Disc golf's fun because if you're bad at golf like I am, you can do that and you get a little hike while you're doing it. It's good. All right.
It's hard, but it's a heck of a lot easier than golf.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a little more physical in that you're moving more. All right. I'm sure everyone was really excited by this topic. All right. Let's talk quarterbacks. So what we know is it's not good to not be pocket mobile. We saw some of the downsides of that with Quinn. What we've seen is Sark has consistently got guys. Now, you wouldn't say Diabell's a running quarterback. He's not. But what we'll show you, we have the huddle for everybody. So we're going to kind of look at their tape and show you. He's functional in the pocket. He can do all the rollouts he needs to do. He's third down mobile, all of those things. So that's what we're asking for. We're not asking for Lamar Jacksons. We're just asking for guys that can navigate pockets.
Yeah, he ran for, I believe, 567 yards his junior year. Yeah, Diabell did.
But you'll see his intention. He's a pocket passing quarterback first, then it goes to that.
Yeah, but he's very comfortable running.
Yeah. What did his dad play?
Wing.
Okay.
He shooting guard, I guess.
Yeah. When your dad's a pro basketball player too, you're going to probably be athletic. Question. Hey guys, serious question. From Quinn's second to his third year, did y'all see progression? No. Overall, no.
I thought yes early against Michigan. It's hard now to not think that was mostly just
prep
for that specific game. It's hard because he got hurt really early in the year. And I think his injuries caused regression. So he probably got better between 23 and 24 than it looked like in the games. But he tore his oblique in the third week of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were saying in the draft, that was like a problem almost the entire year. And by the time it was it was finally healing, he got a high ankle sprain. So.
And both of those suck.
Those are both like awful nagging injuries. Yeah. Shout out to Quinn. One of the tougher quarterbacks. Like, it's so frustrating to me now to realize that Casey Thompson was technically
the best quarterback we've had stat-wise.
Probably the best quarterback we've had in the Sark era.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But he did not handle injuries at all, which amongst other things. I think that drove Sark crazy.
Yeah.
And Quinn never complained, never took Instagram photos of bruises or x-rays or something.
Played the PR game.
He just freaking gritted it out and did whatever he could to win. So.
Him and Bam Bam Sam, dude.
Yeah.
Sam was like a walking hospital and people had like no idea. Sam was single-handedly holding up the medical system in the U.S. Yeah. Cantwell got $2.5 million a year from Miami. Told teams to not even call if they weren't in the $2 million range. But yeah, why are you going to put your pass rusher up against that left tackle when you can put him up against a guard who might not even be going pro?
Also, is Cantwell even that good yet?
I don't know. We were never in the real mix for him, so I haven't been hyper keyed in on his tape or anything.
Like I've heard some numbers on what other definitely good left tackles make an NIL, and they are not that much. They are quite a ways from that, and I don't think he's better than the guys whose smaller NIL figures I've heard about. Miami's
what's the market like 800,000 ish?
Their whole deal, I don't know. They're like it's just this. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street program. I don't know. I don't think they're really going to put it together. We'll get back to them in the Can You Buy a Championship. I think there's a couple schools worth mentioning, and we'll talk about Miami.
We're about to look at quarterback tape. But before we do, guys, Academy Sports and Outdoors is your new home for Jordan. Gear up today and take flight on the court, off the court, and above the court. Unleash your greatness with head-to-toe Jordan gear for the entire family. Available in-store and at academy.com. Elevated styles and shoes for everyone. Unstoppable value every single day. Plus, Academy offers easy ways to shop and save time, like free 1-hour in-store or curbside pickup on academy.com orders. Or choose same-day delivery powered by DoorDash. You can order at 4 p.m., get it to your home by 8 p.m. Check out our full Jordan selection today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. All right. Do you want to – let's check out Caldwell first. Not Cantwell, that's the tackle. Let's look at what adding Caldwell does. And then we'll go – I think we'll kind of go in age order. How about that?
Great.
This is Caldwell right here in the quarterback run game at Troy. I do this every time. It's really remarkable. All right, there we go.
So does Joe. I think it seems to be unavoidable.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, 2 tight ends on the field here.
Okay.
Neither of them.
You got like the fullback and you got the gravedigger. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, tight ends.
Well, yeah, they're still tight ends. I'm saying it's an interesting. I wish we did some of this more.
Well, maybe we will.
Yeah.
We got Mari Winston. We got a lot of guys that are more like that than they are like traditional guys. Go ahead.
Here we go. So let's look at Caldwell and the quarterback run game here, guys. Pull.
Oh, yeah, this one.
Yep. So he's able to pull there on the whatever read it was. And that'll be important.
I'm not sure what read that was. I just included it for the you can see his quickness.
Yeah. So not crazy burning ability, but running ability, right? That's important. Arch goes down or something, like we said, a Malik Murphy versus Kansas State type performance. Malik wasn't a runner, but can step in and fill the hole for a game. Something like that is important. Then what do we have here? This is 3rd and 10. Is he going to, run a draw here or something? Let's see.
What indeed?
Yeah, 3rd and 10. Oh, he moves a little. Yeah, he's moving on that one, man. 3rd and 10 draw, too. Shout out for the play call.
Counter. Quarterback counter.
Oh, it's just pure Q counter, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Away from the tight end, the tight end's like pass sets. So it's a miss key. False key.
Yeah, he can move.
Good receiver block. So
Sark brings this in, right? We have the mobility there, and that's important. So that's what we're looking at with Caldwell. He can move. Now, are you ready to look at Trey Owens? Or do you have any final comments on Caldwell?
He got started with FCS Rich Rod program.
Okay.
So that he's like, he threw a fair amount at Troy last year, but he's like first and foremost zone power option kind of quarterback. Cool. And that's who Texas was like. This who we need as a backup, which tells you a lot.
Okay, so this is Trey Owens here. Now, this is his junior year. For whatever reason, his senior year huddle, you can't get to it. It like airs out. So we're not here to say that, Trey's in year 2 or whatever of college. We're not here to debate his play. We're here to talk about his play style. And so what you'll see here is not super mobile. He'll do some rollout stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to translate well to the college level when people get faster. So you'll see that Trey will generally kind of sit back on his drops. he's accurate, man. He throws a good ball, all of that stuff. We're just showing the difference here. He's really the only outlier in not being the new prototype that Sark has. More old school Sark style. Sits there, throws the fade. Nice ball.
This is like the vast majority of Sark quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Really nice ball there, too.
The USC guys.
But see, right there is important. Just that little ability right here matters. This mobility matters right here. Just to sidestep this, keep his eye on. That's important. And to go to that side of the field at the end. Here's a rollout.
Sure.
It won't translate to college level, but I mean, he's done it. A little bit deceleration's not great, right? He kind of has to Flintstone his feet to stop. So not super good stop-start ability. That was all arm there. Solid on the RPO. Sark will like that. Ball. Really strong touch right there. Ball. Yep, he's on time. Here we go. That won't translate, but go for it. The important thing. Go ahead.
If this guy like went out on a basketball court with us or the vast majority of the people watching, he would make us look pretty bad.
We're never comparing Trey Owens to the general population.
Yeah.
We're only comparing him against 1% level athletes.
But yeah, he's a little herky-jerky, which is not as good in football.
But what's important here, right? He's not going to have the burners or stuff like that, but his size matters. Okay. So it's like, even if he does get touched, you can't arm tackle him, so you can swat at him in the pocket. That's fine. The problem with Quinn is you could breathe on him sometimes and he was going down. And sometimes you didn't even have to. He would sack himself, So it's like that's important too with Trey. It's like he's not necessarily going to burn guys, but he's also has he's a large pocket passer. So he's not just going to go down at the slightest touch either, and that matters. So I really like Trey for not being super mobile. I think he's really accurate. And he has good touch. I mean, he can throw the 1 ball, the 3 ball, the 2 ball.
About the 8 ball.
No, he does not throw the 8 ball.
About the scratch.
And he has an arm, man. Like, let's see what he does. He didn't go opposite hash here, but. So that's Trey Owens. And I like the tape. And that's junior tape, too. We didn't even get to see his most recent senior tape. But you see that there's not, did you see any quarterback designed runs in that tape?
No, there's not the quickness laterally and the acceleration to get the edge. If he gets going like he did that one time, like any quarterback with a Texas scholarship or P5 scholarship, if they get out in the open field, they can usually hurt you. It's how often, what does the context need to be for them to get there? Yeah. Usually that requires burst and explosiveness in your first few steps that is not present with Trey Owens.
But he does have the size. He has the accuracy. He has the arm. So all the requisites are there for the passing style of quarterback, the pocket passer.
The big prerequisite that is not there for him in 2025 is that when you've got a guy like that who doesn't add anything to the run game, you have to be able to get into 2 tight end sets to run the ball when you really need to run the ball. And Texas does not have the tight ends for that.
We ever see
they need Arch Manning and they need his backup to be able to help generate advantages and angles in the run game with quarterback keepers, because they can't block everybody reliably with the tight ends on the roster.
Yeah. All All right, next up, KJ Lacey. This is mid-season tape of his senior year, and he's moving a lot more than when I would look at his junior huddle too. I mean, he's on the move almost damn near every play on this. We're not going to see this level of extremity, but to show you, KJ Lacey can move, and he can create. And this tape really displays it more than I've even seen prior. It's almost a little bit too much movement. Empty set here. Able to roll out there, hit his guy. A little bit anxious in the pocket there. I don't know if he needed to bring all those moves out that quick. Roll out, hits his guy open. And what you will notice, his offensive line is garbage. Whatever this year it is, dude, that looks like a screen, and that's not a screen. Like 3 guys just come right through. You see, he's running for his life a little bit.
They came up short for the title this year. So
watch him roll out and throw crossfield here.
Yeah,
I mean, he's throwing late post.
a little iffy as a decision.
So he's not stepping up a lot, and I would just have to have more context of the season, like if he's just terrified because his interior sucks. But like right here, there's step up potential. He's scared here, but this guy goes down. But these edges are able to kind of collapse in on him. He's able to still make it work because he's a good player. But look at that. I mean, that accuracy there is really nice.
A good game to play with these guys is anytime you're watching huddle and you can see the safeties and where they drop to, is on a given play with these young guys is watch what the safeties do and see if you can guess where the ball is going to end up based on the safety's leverage.
So this is a big thing. I've seen this in a lot of huddle. People will be like, man, that was a nice throw, but it's the wrong throw. So like it'll be 2 safeties and they'll throw right to one of the 2 safeties. It's supposed to go to the post, right? Or a hole shot. So like a lot of the times it'll be the wrong throw, and that gets exposed in college. Even if it's a nice throw, they're generally beating people with their talent, not their mind. So you want to make sure it's the correct read on top of being a nice throw.
Like one of those last touchdowns, I saw what looked like one opening, and then when he threw the ball, it was like that made a lot of sense to make that read. That was an easy one.
Ball. Yeah, his timing is good there. Good layer of the ball too. But KJ, nice. That's a quick release. That's a baseball. He throws like he's throwing a baseball. He has this really awesome.
He's a lot like Bryce Young, like everybody has always said since he was a sophomore.
Yeah.
And we know that Sark had some intention to recruit and play Bryce Young had he not gotten a Texas job.
See what I'm trying to. Yeah, for sure. What's weird here is he's like fading. Is he this paranoid by his O-line? Why is he fading back here? This is what's making me why is this drop so big?
He's short.
Really, it's a 30-yard throw, maybe 40 if you get into the end zone.
He's short.
That's what I was going to say. That's what worries me because it looks like he can't see over the line, and so he's having to take these exaggerated drops. And if you're having to take these exaggerated drops because you can't see, that means you're not going to be able to step up well in college.
It can be made to work, especially in college.
Well, you have to get good at windows at that point. So like Kyler Murray was incredible at that. He couldn't see, but he knew that the receiver was going to cross through here. And now I have the window to throw between the guard and the center, But it does take a lot more mental processing than a taller quarterback would have to deal with.
Baker Mayfield was like that too. Johnny Manziel was like 5'11". Johnny Manziel just kind of ran around until somebody was open. but sometimes that's extremely hard to stop.
But we haven't seen one time stepping up in the pocket. So that's what I want to keep my eyes out for. Everything is hanging around the back. And I don't care who you are, Michael Williams' successor is going to sack you if you're hanging out back there. See, everything's this drift away.
I might worry more about interceptions than sacks because this guy is so hard to catch.
He is, but he's going to, I mean, we're going to be dealing with the top of the top. I mean,
yeah, but
the 10th of 1% level athletes in the world.
Oh, there you go. But when somebody's this agile and you have to worry about them going left and right or throwing, usually.
I want to see his spin out because that's what I'll have to do. If he's going to hang that far in the packet in the pocket, he's going to have a good spin out.
Peter Griffin.
Yeah, my Boston accent, apparently. I really like that RPO there. Also, this looked like a fun game to play in.
He had a run a minute ago, which was originally the point of our discussion.
Well, you see, it's not even that. It's the rollouts. It's the pocket extension. He's always going backwards, but he's constantly moving before he does it. So
but he had a designed run too.
Yeah, near the red zone earlier.
Yeah, there's something. You're looking at Trey 3 years ago. Is that in reference to Trey Owens watching his junior film?
Yeah.
Yeah, presumably Trey Owens is even more skilled now than he was as a junior at Cyfair. Cyfair, right? Cyfair But Bobcat fight never dies, they say. But they wouldn't have brought in Caldwell if Owens was like.
Well, and here's the thing too. I stated that it was his junior. I stated it was his junior tape. But what we're looking at there, you don't go from pocket passer to elite runner. Your play style is your play. I can look at you in youth football and tell you what style of quarterback you're going to be. So the point is not that we're evaluating Trey's junior tape. It's that we're saying this is the style of quarterback he is. That's going to scale all the way to the NFL.
Yeah.
Also, the athletes that he's going to face are going to get faster as well. So, yeah. That's why I preempted that. Somebody always, it's 3 years ago. Yeah, I know. But it doesn't change if he's a pocket quarterback or not. All right. Let's look at Dia. So what do you think about KJ? I know me and you are really excited for KJ.
I think imagining him as a backside keep threat, even though he didn't do that a ton in high school, is really easy. Like if he can dance around like that, it's so easy to imagine him on the backside of zone or counter, pulling the ball and even throwing on the move and having like a triple option dimension. So,
yeah, he can go for 40 quick if he pulls, no one's there.
Yeah, him in a RPO spread offense with a spread field and the ability to move around and run is like no brainer. I'm excited for that. I feel like that's a vision that we haven't really laid out as much because that's just not how things have worked for Sark. But
and the release is lightning fast too. Like that's really important on the RPOs. So I like his mobility, designed run, but I just like his ability to create. Because if you watch, even when he rolls out and he's getting sketched out, he's still eyes on that receiver deep, and he's able to hit a lot of deep stuff with good accuracy. He throws the ball at different speeds. All of those things I think are really good.
He also he throws on time a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all just I'm going to dance around until somebody gets open. He's actually hitting things in tight windows early. And he's like 170 there or something.
What do you think about Jalen Daniels kind of comp?
No.
In his creation, he looks just like Jalen, like the rollout to the right, not designed run, but it's like rollouts and stuff to the right and left, keeping an eye on the ball. I think it looks just like Jalen.
He looks a lot like Bryce Young now. I'm curious to see what he'll weigh in a couple of years. He needs to get with Colt McCoy and get on the Colt McCoy weight gain plan.
The only thing that stands out to me that, like I said, there's no stepping up in the pocket. And so he's going to have to use that mobility. But so the point is, if he does hang back and he's against first rounders, that's going to be a problem. Can he escape? Yes. But by definition, he is constantly breaking the play if he's doing that. The timing is getting all screwed up. So you need to be able to drop back to 3 steps, and you need to be able to hitch because the ball needs to come out, designed with the route. So can he technically skirt out of there? He absolutely can. But Sark's not going to love that because you're breaking the timing of his play too often. So I want to see him stepping up more, and he's going to need to develop kind of the Kyler Murray sense. If you can't see well, which he clearly doesn't appear he can, he's going to have to read windows really well. And he can do that. You've seen you need a quick release and intelligence. He has a quick release and intelligence.
You also can do the longer developing crossing routes to where if he drops back and he has to move sideways instead of stepping up, there's still time.
Yeah. And he's really good at whenever he does working to the side. And also that one where he rolls out right and he throws it to the late post. Oof, man, like that's a hell of a throw. So he can do some cool stuff, but that's just the one thing that sticks out on tape that I don't love seeing. But overall, I'm really excited for KJ Lacey. Let's look at Diabell.
Here's the big threat to KJ Lacey.
Yep. Man, he's got an arm. So here's the first play of like, should you throw that? So let's see.
Play?
Yeah, so we've got 4 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are 10 players here. There's a post safety right here at the top of your screen. So why are we throwing a post? And the post safety is dropping straight back. So technically here, man, you need to be throwing this ball outside. So he's going to throw it to double coverage into a post safety.
The safety did show on the dig.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a wow play, but he's throwing right to.
No, but watch the safety right.
He thinks about it, but even pre-snap, the post should be kind of dead there. So that's one of those ones that's like it's a nice throw, but
I think Sark liked that because he's like, hey, he turned his hips the wrong way. F him, throw it.
Yeah, but he recovered quite easily.
Well, did he? It was still catch.
Yeah, and that's not the evals we're doing in the quarterback room. We got to be on the whiteboard there.
He kind of fooled him. Who was that safety?
I don't know. But he baited him. It was pretty impressive for a high school player. See, he gets out of that. I think that's important.
And then throws up another.
Yeah.
Do you think he yells Kobe before he does that?
There's some of these with Dia that are not technically the most sound, but it's just I'm better than you type plays. And that will work in high school and it'll work against a lot of people in college, but it won't always scale. So you just have to be wary.
There's no look how far back these safeties are because they know.
Yeah, that he'll go bombs away on them. So look at this, man. Like he almost slips on this next play coming up here. Gains his footing and then goes for like 60 yards.
Those little deft moves, right and left.
Yeah.
That don't look as impressive, but are lethal when you're trying to tackle in the open field.
They're kind of Luka-y. They're like, it's just like just enough.
That's like Brady in the pocket. Only it's
right.
open field instead. Yeah. Vince Young actually did a lot of that. He called it the Texas two-step.
Anytime you want, dude, as soon as Diabell does a fake handoff, you need to get back.
There's no point.
Dude, he can go bombs away on you.
Does he ever hit the over?
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to that route.
We'll have to look and see if he ever throws the over.
But you see, this is what I'm talking about with pocket mobility. Just ability to step up, make slight adjustments. It doesn't mean that, and we just saw him run for 70. He can do it, right? But that's what I mean, too, by pocket mobile. And he has the size, right?
Yeah. There's the option.
See, that's the Arch Manning right there.
That KJ is going to be so good at that, too.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah. There's the intermediate. Although the post was almost open.
Man, he can really layer that. His receivers make some plays too, man.
He's got better shooting touch than his dad. I'll say that.
Whew. Uh-oh.
Is he going to split those two? Sort of.
He does, yeah. I mean, it works. He's faster than I realized, too, when he gets in the open field. See that? Look at that. How many times are you going to recreate that? But how's that for play creation, dude? Can't draw that one up, but that's the stuff you can't teach that you're kind of looking for. Get to the screen. He finds a way to do it. There's your, was that an over? Ooh, we got popped.
Sort of. Still like 40 yards down the field. Oh.
Look at that. And he takes the shot. That's important too.
What's he rated again?
I think he's like the second quarterback overall in the class.
Splits of safeties. That one, he has a tendency, kind of like Quinn, to layer rather than rifle. You notice that? Like that one, he got away with it, but that ball, if you're throwing it in between the safeties, you kind of want to stick it in there a little harder. I think his feet were moving, though, so just to get it there at all was a win.
There's the quick kind of glance route that we're going to need.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's the read. Breaking tackles. Gains like an extra 15 on that.
Yeah.
The anticipation spot throw there is really nice. He's even kind of holding the ball, but he throws it before it's there.
On this one, on the corner?
Right here. Ball.
Okay. Yeah,
that angle's weird too for a quarterback because it's like it's flat but not. It's tricky.
Did you see that?
Yeah, let's see.
That's the old drive and kick.
Oh no, I restarted it somewhere. All right, here's the one we were just talking about.
He threw that when the corner showed that he wasn't going to be out there.
There we go. Touchdown. Yep.
That was another point guard-y kind of. He was throwing that the whole way, I think. He was just like, I just got to get to this spot to draw him in, and then I'll turn and hit that bubble. Oh, my
God. See, wasn't there. He didn't try to force it for the interception, and then he just runs for 30. See, these are the ones that are going to suck, dude. Diabell will throw these crazy bombs on you, man. Like you got to play too high safety, man. He's got that kind of lagway attack ability. Even simple stuff like that, like plays broken, runs out, gets to the sticks. Like that stuff matters too, beyond throwing 60-yard bombs. Because you're going to be doing that stuff more than you are throwing 60-yard bombs.
A lot of these, he's floating.
That was all arm, too. That wasn't even...
Weak side college safeties are going to drift in and create problems for these. like they did with Quinn, and we'll see how that goes. Like that's why you gotta and then drift into that one. That's why that's what would give Quinn trouble when he didn't want to. Quinn would always want to see it and then feather it in.
Yeah.
And when teams are in these like modern quarters coverages where the weak side safety can get over on your post that's supposed to be open, you have to throw it faster. You have to either hit it there quicker or you got to rifle it to hit the window. And Quinn never really adjusted that well to that.
Yeah.
I wonder how Dia will do. But
I feel like also a lot of these that he's floating, the guy's beat. Like I don't care if he's beat.
But that's the guy. That's not the problem. The guy is the other guy that you don't see from the other side of the field. And in college, that guy is faster, and he's already on his horse to get there.
And he's watching you. See, little stuff like that. Boom. But man, Sark's gonna love this. Between him and Arch Manning, their deep throw abilities, man.
He's very similar to Arch in that he's fat, but he's big and powerful more than he's like KJ Lacey is like quick and darting.
Yeah.
And Diabell and Arch have some quickness, enough quickness for their speed to matter, but their real game-changing abilities are like just power.
But also the play creation you've seen from Dia, like the flipping it out at the last second, that's Manning does that too.
Yep. So
I would agree. Arch and Dia are very similar in their styles. Boom. Man, it's crazy how many deep balls he throws. I like Dia's mix of traditional and mobile. So do I. I think Dia's like a great modern style of quarterback.
That's the thing, right? Is that this is what the NFL wants now. And in addition to this style making it easier to beat Kirby Smart's pressures, it's also, if you want to recruit the best quarterbacks in the country, this is what they look like nowadays. And these are the guys that are going to get drafted really high by the NFL. So like you take Quinn, you have him surrounded by NFL talent, but that pocket passing, not that Quinn was we had a lot of criticisms of his pocket skills, but he goes in the 7th round. If you're Sark and you want to crank out more top round quarterbacks and you want to win in college, it's a double whammy effect. Like your guy, it has a much better chance of getting drafted high if he has these kinds of abilities, and you have a much easier time winning.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Dia has some pocket passer traits, in my opinion. Well, yeah, that's what we're saying. He has all the pocket passer traits, but he also can do this. So, like, that's the modern thing. He's big enough to stand in the pocket. He can move and sidestep. He can stay locked in on a target. He can do all that kind of stuff. And then on top of it, he can go and get you some quick yards and roll out. So I had not watched any Dia tape yet. Holy hell. Yeah, for sure. Like, this is a good quarterback. And we're lucky to have him committed. So that's going to be the important part. So that's what we're talking about. Going through the quarterbacks, a new prototype. If we notice Sark is shifting more to the more mobile quarterback, both in the design to run capabilities, but also the ability to step through pockets, the ability to roll out right and left, the ability to create, all of that stuff is where it seems to be going more with Sark.
Have you seen the specs on him?
What do you mean? It's like height and weight?
Yeah.
You're talking about like he's a Nissan.
He's definitely better than a Nissan.
Yeah, that's true.
Guess his height and weight.
6. I don't know, man. 6'2", 195.
His last measurement is 6'3", 220.
220 is crazy.
10-inch hands before his junior year.
Yeah, so he has everything you need, tangibles.
He's
He's probably going to add another. He's going to add an inch and be still 6'3" with how the specs work. Okay, so he'll end up 6'4" and a half, 6'4". That's cool, man.
Let's see here. Raja Bell was 6'5".
I forgot his dad's an NBA player. Duh. He's also got a year still of high school. What was his dad's size?
He's 6'5". I'm trying to see 6'9" wingspan. 205, 210, something like that. His dad was actually so Diabell is obviously super athletic, but not a freak like Jalen Milroe or someone like that.
Yeah.
His dad was like that too. Like his dad was an NBA athlete, so very high level. But he stuck in the league for a long time by just being
a grinder,
tenacious defender, fearless, gritty kind of guy, which you also love in somebody developing a next-gen athlete, because it's not like the kid just hits the genetic lottery and everything is easy.
Right.
His dad is raising him with like the ultimate grinder professional mindset.
On top of having crazy genetics. Yeah.
And also, Raja Bell, not the genetic lottery for basketball. I mean,
for basketball players, right?
For an NBA player, not a genetic for anyone else. But although I guess he could have married a female athlete, and then you never know.
Yeah.
But for a football player,
incredible genetics.
Absolutely incredible genetics, because NBA athletes are a different level than NFL players.
Correct, and they grow out of being NFL athletes. Like, you don't want to be 6'9" football player. So it's like but the ability to move in the air and in space goes to a basketball player, especially at those insane sizes.
And on the ground, like anyone who thinks Jalen Brunson wouldn't be completely dominant in a football game at like 7 different positions is out of their minds.
Yeah. All right, guys, before we keep going, let's hear a word from David McClellan.
I'm just going to say, guys, you probably need a fiduciary financial advisor, and I've got the guy for you. His name is David McClellan with Forum Financial. He works broadly and deeply with his clients as a financial life coach, and he should know something about coaching because he won several national championships as a swimmer for the University of Texas. He specializes in financial planning and has contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. So contact David today to be your fiduciary financial planner and schedule a 1-hour consultation to assess your financial situations. The free consultation is available, so just give him a call. The number is 312-933-8823. That's 312-933-8823. His email is also in the description below.
This is a cool fact. Raja guarded Kobe every time he played the Lakers. That's a crazy mindset. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was his job, but he was very tenacious about it. He was on some of the better Suns teams that were making deep runs and playing like the Lakers and the Spurs every year.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one specifically, but within the 7 seconds or less, Steve Nash, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, and all that.
Are you on a time cruncher at all, Ian?
Not really.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. All right. So that's a lot of fun, man. I enjoy that. All right. It's just always fun looking at the huddle. For the people that haven't seen the huddle, you get really excited about Diabell and even KJ, man. We heard good things about KJ throughout spring. And of course, Trey is a super fun quarterback, big guy, and can sling it. All right. So the next topic is what it takes to buy a championship. we hear, Texas buys championships, Miami is trying to buy championships, Oregon, whatever, Nebraska as well. But one that Ian did a piece on, and I thought we talked about it last week of like, man, can Tech really do it? And I think he went and dove in and actually explored it.
Yeah.
So
That was
Tech
it. I get my material from the random things that come up on these shows.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you're like, I wonder, and then you're able to go to the lab. So what we want to look at specifically is Tech, and we can talk a broader way, but Tech's done some interesting stuff in a way that you want to ultimately, just as a Texas fan, dismiss them offhand. I don't think you can do that here. They're doing a lot of right things. And then I sent you, Ian, the facilities video. So they have, there's the theory in economics that supply creates demand, opposed to the other way, right? So like no one was demanding iPhones, but you create iPhones and then the demand comes.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Tech's kind of doing. They're flipping it on its head. Like they're getting like these elite facilities. They're like they're doing everything like they've won a national championship. So I think they're trying to flip it. Will it work? I don't know, but they do have a unique strategy and a model that I'm paying attention to. They also have a wealthy benefactor here that's making a lot of the plays. They got their T. Boone Pickens essentially.
Yeah, it's also it's not new, really. Like the idea of a school in sort of a remote locale that's not in a huge hotbed of recruiting is not like a desirable, like, that's definitely where I want to go have fun in college, is out there. And then a program like that, having like a wealthy benefactor or two, a top coach and a strategy, and then winning titles is like extremely normal in college football. That's Tom Osborne, Nebraska was like that. Miami,
Oklahoma State.
Oh, how about Oklahoma?
Well, yeah.
Oregon is like that. Like you ever look at Eugene is like not even right next to Portland.
Yeah, but OU is right next to Oklahoma City. Like Norman.
Oklahoma City.
They got skyscrapers, dude. But it's not a major metro, but it's a big enough city.
And they were winning in the 70s and 80s when Oklahoma City wasn't even Oklahoma City, Yeah. Like in another 20 years, Oklahoma City might be like kind of like pretty big, important. But it was not with Barry Switzer, and it's still not,
Yeah. But they get, is it Campbell? Cody Campbell?
Yeah, Cody Campbell.
So
Double Eagle Energy Holdings.
Yeah, they sold the Permian Basin oil money. And man, he's rich, but also he's getting into the wider politics of the sport, right? So we know that Saban and him now are on this, I guess, a little task force to try to figure out college NIL. And so the first thing I know people kind of got mad about, they're like, why we don't want an active tech booster writing these rules. But I don't remember who it was. It might have been you. They were like, yeah, we do. Because he's dark in a dark way. He's going to advocate for the billionaire is going to advocate for the billionaire class. Shocking. But he's going to want to keep feeding money to tech. So he's going to want to create laws that ensure that rich boosters can help their programs. You'd almost be more scared of the San Jose State booster that's like, hey, let's make this all equal and you have a max you can give. So that's also kind of the thing with Campbell that might not be a bad deal, even though you immediately think a tech guy is going to try to undercut Texas.
Campbell is more likely to be fighting for things like how do we make this more regulated, where guys are not re-leveraging contracts every
year,
and it's not just like a total cesspool of tampering and
they're also fighting the employee designation.
They're also what? They're
Fighting
fighting.
they don't want an employee status.
Campbell doesn't.
Right.
Why?
I don't know. I just know that there was a list of what Campbell wanted, and there was no employee status. They want to give it. They want to give more power to the schools, but they don't want employee status. I don't know why. I can look it up.
I don't know how they do that, but if they can figure it out.
Well, they're looking for what is the exemption the NFL has? The NFL has a legal classification that's basically a monopoly exemption. And so they're looking for that for college football as well.
It sounds good. I was on board with let these guys make some money. Everybody's getting rich off this. These guys are putting their bodies on the line. Let them get some money too. And now that we have that, I'm all for tightening it up and making sure that the sport still functions the way it needs to. So we don't lose the sport.
Yeah, it's swung. The pendulum swung too far the other way.
Yeah, it was just inevitable, and that's honestly fine. But it does need to swing back. You know who doesn't get who the people don't look out for now is the fan.
For who?
The players are looking out for the players.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches are looking out for the coaches, and the media is looking to try to tell the fans how terrible they are and how they need to do better or whatever hippie nonsense they're on about. So if the sport doesn't work for the fans, it all goes away.
Yeah. So here's this. I think this is a NACO's. No, it's a Nick Schultz on 3 article we have here. So this is where Cody Campbell stands on key issues. So he wants to amend the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, one of my favorite sports broadcasting acts, by the way. And he states college sports, unlike pro sports, does not have the right to pull its media rights together and act as a single seller to the media companies, Campbell said last month on Sirius XM College Sports Radio. Because of that, the conferences compete with each other for media deals. That dynamic has caused them to get less money per viewer than pro sports do. The NBA has about half as many viewers as college football, but they get twice as much money than college football does, which is crazy. And it's all because of this legal setup that we have.
Okay. This is all just special plating for tech. That whole section.
So he's gonna, here comes down.
He's like, hey, the Pacers make as much as the Lakers do, and in Texas is like,
so
we're the Lakers and you're the Pacers, and you want. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of that act, and I was not being sarcastic. So here's what he says, right? And I think once you do that, you find some kind of more fair revenue distribution system with respect to the media rights. Colleges, places like Alabama, like the University of Texas, like Oklahoma, who have big followings, who have big stadiums, who have big licensing deals, they're still going to have a huge economic advantage. But a New Mexico or a Wyoming or a Toledo, not Texas Tech though, but worth looking out for New Mexico, Wyoming, or Toledo, will still be able to sustain an athletic department under a system like that.
Okay, Okay, this is not great.
Then he says, I think we need to rethink the way we organize our conferences. And again, because of the way that we have to do the media deals, these conferences are encouraged to have a school or schools in every single time zone because they want to have games at different times of the day. So we have these transcontinental conferences that make absolutely no sense. They cost too much money for travel. They're too disruptive to the student athletes, especially in the non-revenue sports again. And I think we need to reorganize and rethink just the way we do college sports in general.
This is not good. I'm starting to see why everybody's down on this.
Yeah.
What about contracts, man? What we need in college football are contracts. We don't need to find ways to keep New Mexico football in line. No one gives a crap.
New Mexico fans aren't even showing up enough to watch New Mexico football.
Yeah, New Mexico exists to produce a oh my gosh, who's our favorite? New Mexico exists to produce a Diego Pavia every 5 to 10 years.
Right.
That's it.
But the Commission on College Sports is expected to deeply examine. Why is everything deeply? I'm deeply troubled. Everything in politics is I'm deeply concerned that we need to get rid of this dumb modifier deeply that's in every bit of conversation.
That's how you know it's that they're, whenever people use words like that, you know that they have like the most nasty ulterior motives.
I know, exactly. It's the most PR grossness. But they're going to deeply examine the unwieldy landscape of college sports, including the frequency of player movement in the transfer portal. Sounds fair. The unregulated booster compensation paid to athletes. Good luck with that. The debate of college athlete employment. That's going to be an interesting one. And the application of Title IX in contracts.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what Campbell's working on.
He's also working on buying Tech a championship.
Correct. So back to the main topic, but we did want to say that Cody Campbell has real sway here, right? It's him and Saban. And the irony of that, I don't think he would go for any of these policies in any other realm besides college football, by the way. He's not advocating for his taxes to make things more fair. It's only when Texas Tech is down in the realm of college football that this man becomes a beacon of making everything fair in this world. So we have Cody Campbell working the political angles. We have Texas Tech, who has a brand new facility. Go watch the video. You can just Google Texas Tech facilities. They're pretty cool. And then on top of that, we have Joey McGuire, who's a big culture guy, right? He has the raw angles. And then he's also replaced his coordinators because Kitley goes to FAU.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then they bring in Mac from
Texas State,
who I went to high school with before he transferred to an Oklahoma school. So shout out to him. You're balling out as a coordinator. Keep doing your thing, dude.
You know, he's a copycat shooter.
Yeah.
He runs the veer and shoot, but he learned it from G.J. Kinney, who learned it from I can't remember. I don't have the thing. I don't have the tree I made in front of me. Go ahead, carry on.
So what happens here? So they get Mac, and then they also bring in. Here's your coach.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there's
learned it from Rhett Lashley, who learned it from Malzahn-ish, who learned it from Heupel. Yeah. Malzahn doesn't actually run it, but he's been around it, and a lot of his assistants run it.
Yeah. So this is. My phone should be on silent, but it's still doing it regardless. And then they also end up grabbing a new coordinator as well, which I didn't really get. Is there some personal beef there? Because their FEI number was solid. They trade like a 40th ranked defense for like a 30th ranked defense from the Houston guy, right?
Yeah, here's the FBI.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell you that they gave up 34.8 points per game.
So they were just situational, or they were getting hit on explosives or something because their efficiencies were decent.
I don't know. That's a good question.
But yeah, normally finishing 44th in FEI at Texas Tech, you feel good about.
They played a really tough schedule. They played. They beat both teams that played in the Big 12 championship game, but also played Colorado and Baylor and somebody else. They played like all the top teams. I think they played Kansas State. So they drew just a gauntlet, a Big 12 gauntlet. That league has wildly unbalanced schedules now.
Yes.
Kind of sucks, actually.
But they bring in a new coordinator.
Yeah.
The coordinator from Houston, his name escapes me.
Shield
Wood from Houston. So they get Mac, who's a really good up and coming young coordinator that in 5 years everybody will know what's up with him. And then they get a new coordinator. So that's the only thing where I don't feel great about it in year one, because just new coordinators, stability is an important aspect. But it's also, you've had several years under McGuire. You have, everything else is intact, right? Your training program, all of that kind of stuff. So it's not a huge shake, but I would like to see coordinators in year 2 or 3. But the important part with Tech, why everyone keeps putting them in the top 25s or dark horsing them and all of that kind of stuff, is really because they were able to put together a really just an impressive portal class.
They took 22 guys in the transfer portal, which is a lot. It's a lot of dudes.
Yeah. And the integration of that is what's yet to be. Tech is a really fun case study this year. Like, I'm going to pay attention to them because they've done these unique things. If it works, then hey, man, you might glean some competitive advantage from learning from them. If it doesn't, that'll answer an important question as well. But Ian goes and lists like 12 of the 20-something guys.
They took a top left tackle in the transfer portal. They took the top edge from Stanford that Texas was looking at, and
Who visited us? Yeah,
we spent like a week being like, "Why is Texas on this guy? I mean, he looks good, but we have Colin Simmons and Trey Moore. What's even the point?" He went to Tech, as I suspected he would. Quentin Joyner, the running back from USC, multiple cornerbacks who were proven starters at usually lower level programs. Huge North Dakota State safety. Big receiver Reginald Virgil from Miami of Ohio. The other thing that was interesting about their transfer portal class is that other than Micah Hudson, they didn't do the thing. So Florida State a couple years ago had a couple huge transfer portal classes, right? And then they went basically undefeated until their quarterback got hurt. And they got blown out by Georgia, but they were like 13-0 and ACC champions. So sometimes when people were like, I don't know if it works to build your team with mercenaries in the transfer portal. Well, we've already seen it work.
It depends on what kind of mercenaries.
It depends on what kind of mercenaries. And Florida State's guys were almost entirely lower level guys that were good. And then they got pay increases and upgrades to go to Florida State. TCU also, when they went to the championship game, they had a ton of dudes like that. Year after that, TCU goes out and they try to get all these former blue chips that failed in other schools, and they bombed. Florida State goes out, tries to get all these blue chip transfers that failed at other schools to rebuild. They bomb. They win 2 games or something crazy.
Texas year one.
Texas year one. Yeah.
They were a 5-star at Alabama 6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago. All these guys Tech got are proven players. It's not like, well, he didn't, So people keep taking this transfer and convincing themselves it'll work for them. It never does, but maybe it'll work for us,
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Just looking purely at traits opposed to what they were able to do in game. But also some of the whole point of the portal to me, right? When you're taking like a high school athlete, you're looking at traits. You're projecting like 3 years out. But the whole point of a portal athlete to me is not to get super obsessed with traits. It's can they play at the college level? And that should be step one. Then you can do your traits analysis. If you're Texas, though, you're just traits matter because you're trying to get that guy drafted. But yeah. So Tech avoids the pitfall there. So ultimately, and you ask if they answer some of these other questions. So as far as what you call the core four, they have the left tackle, they have the defensive tackle, they have the nose, and they have the edge. So that's an important thing. The 4 quarterback laws where Ian has about outside receivers and about tight end fit with the quarterback, that's where he thinks that they might run into issues. So where does Tech not have the needed mix of players?
They have a couple of really talented receiving tight ends, and they have a pocket passing quarterback. And those, you can't run the ball unless one of those 2 guys can block a defensive end, basically.
But Ian, if you have a pocket passing quarterback, that's a passing quarterback. Why wouldn't you want 2 receiving tight ends?
Because somebody has to block when you're running the ball.
Yeah.
Either the quarterback has to block them with the option, or the tight end has to block them the traditional way with his body. And you just get into trouble in the red zone. You get into trouble on money downs, third downs. You get into trouble when you play a team that can sit back in coverage a little more and just whip you up front.
You struggle against the blitz and not being able to max protect.
Struggle with max protection. You just lose so many of your various core functions. Like the tight end, receiving tight end in college is really a luxury. Everybody chases the luxury, and then they're like, oh, we don't have anybody that can do the basics.
We don't have a tight end.
Amazing how often that happens.
Yeah, at all levels.
Yeah.
But basically, so that's the only disconnect that we're seeing here, right? But like as far as what is Tech is doing, there's ingredients here to win the Big 12, right? The Big 12 is weird because like someone always rises and falls, but there's nothing glaring that says Tech can't make this work, right?
Yeah, and then in turn go to the playoffs, and then
Right.
and like I keep seeing people, like I guess it's second nature to deride Tech.
It is, yeah. It's a knee-jerk reaction.
And I get that. And people are like, well, the Big 12, blah, blah, blah. Texas Tech, maybe they could win the Big 12, but not the national championship. Let me just remind everyone that on 4th and 13, none of y'all thought Texas was beating Arizona State.
Yeah.
Texas is about to get punked by the Big 12 champion that had been 3-9 the year before and no one had seen coming. Also, the previous 10 years, Texas was getting punked regularly in the Big 12. All the time.
Right. Yeah, we figured it out towards the end there, but for a good 10 years, they were beating us.
And even the one year that Texas won the Big 12 before they left, which was richly satisfying, to be sure.
We got the easiest of the potential
opponents. The league sucked that year.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, that's just the league. They just suck now. No,
and I honestly thought Oklahoma or Kansas State were better than Oklahoma State. Or Oklahoma and Kansas State would have been tougher opponents in the championship than Oklahoma State was.
Yeah.
I thought it was over, man, when Taft laid that hit. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's not going to be popular. I think that was targeting. And so it's like
no.
I've looked at it 50 times.
Go watch soccer, Connor.
It's targeting by
Go watch the EPL.
It's targeting by their rules, man.
It's not targeting by the rules.
And so I thought it was over then. So not even the 4th and 13. Like I remember whenever I saw that pop, that's when I thought it was over. But I think Tech can do it.
Charles Cowart raises a great question. He says, okay, Ian, but then that team has to reproduce that magic against top tier teams 2 additional times. That has not yet happened in college football. True.
That is the problem, right? It's not just like Tech or TCU can beat Michigan and get in the game. Like you have to win several games. You have to a hell of a Cinderella story if it works out.
There has not been that many opportunities for teams like that to even try, though. Like there's a reason they would always remember the separate but equal bowl where they like relegated Boise State and TCU in a bad game.
Yeah.
Part of that was they're like, nobody wants to play these teams. They lose their, hat on the lack of ticket sales or whatever. But also nobody wanted to play those teams. So the more they expand the playoffs, the harder it's going to get for that to happen. But, it just takes like one lucky run. And all of a sudden, if you give it enough times, I think one of those teams can eventually win. I like this.
What we've seen is that Tech and SMU have been able to figure some stuff out, right? So what we need to be aware of is teams with motivated alumni can make this work in leagues that are not the Big 10 or SEC. So SMU rising in the ACC and then Tech potentially in the Big 12.
Yep.
But watch Tech this next year. Even if you don't like them, and I know you won't like them, but watch them because this is interesting to figure out if this model works, right? If you can get if you can build the facilities first, if you can do the money first, basically everything they're doing is like they've already won. So I'm interested to see.
The QB tight end thing, I think maybe sinks them. So Cody Campbell, if you're listening, you can figure it out if you just read America's War Game. It's $99 for a year.
I don't know if he can afford it, dude.
You can afford it.
Yeah.
And you and Joey, or you and the next coach that you hire after you buy out Joey, can get these last final details right, and then Texas Tech has a chance.
Yeah. And here's the great meme. I really like this tight end. Do you like for tight end reasons or wide receiver reasons? Wide receiver reasons. Yep. So that's the interesting part of Tech. Now, what do you take about the whole Texas is buying a national champion, all of that fun stuff that pops up?
That's just what people say when they're mad that they lost.
Yeah.
Like, how much money did Ohio State spend on their championship last year? How much money did Nick Saban was bragging before he retired that all of his starters were making 7 figures in the NIL? Why do you think Georgia signs top classes every year? It's like Kirby Smart's luring them into a van with candy? No.
Because that's what it takes. You got to invest to have these levels, this caliber of teams.
They're all buying players for large sums of money.
Yeah.
So,
and some of them were doing it prior to NIL structures, and maybe that's why they had some dominant runs as well.
Yeah, they were.
No, we're not sure, Ian. We're speculating.
Remember when Shane Gillis said that to Nick Saban?
To Saban's face, yeah, and Saban didn't take it that well.
And Nick Saban started going on about how the real money that he paid his players was the NFL contracts that they made as a result of his coaching.
Yeah. But also you could just go look at the parking lot of every major program and be like, 18-year-olds seem to have quite nice cars that generally you do not see 18-year-olds having.
Yeah.
The parking lots of every major school made it very clear what the truth was going on there. Also,
you did that at Texas in 2005, and you're gonna.
Well, also when coaches are owning car dealerships, so they can guarantee the loaners that these players have. Come on, guys? Like, why do they own a network of car dealerships? So, all right, guys, it was fun hanging out, talking quarterbacks, looking at some tape. And then also, you heard it here first, Texas Tech, Red Raiders, national champions. Ian Boyd said it, not me. I didn't say it. Y'all have a great day. Later, chat. Thank you, Ian. Peace.